next thing that I wanted to do, and I will do, is I just want to take you through, so here we are, there, and we go in there. Okay, I've logged in as a student. I've not logged in as myself. I have a secret identity where I can pretend to be a student. It's a technique. Now, what you're going to do, okay, you're going to go to your feedback, and you're going to go to VMC Dissertation Proposal Form. You will see it's in an attractive pink. Now, because this is a Mac, it's going to make me download it. So I'm going to download it. And it'll go wordle, wordle, I think. Yeah, okay. Go on. Save. Okay. Now, I just want to take you through this form, because this is that bag I was talking about that you sort of need to keep with you and keep thinking. The form is, as I say, a chance for you to accumulate stuff and to get your head straight about what you're doing. Obviously, we don't ask you to do it on your own. You're going to have tutorials in order to help clarify what your purpose is. You just put across where your course is, and then these are the things that you need to do. Obviously, you go to Blackboard and you download the brief, okay? And you print it out. The first really good favor you could do to yourself, although you might think, my goodness, that's a lot of pages, is read it. And I would encourage you to make yourself read it from cover to cover, okay? Because then that brief answers almost all the questions that perennially crop up. And it should help you, all right? So do that. To complete the form, have a look at the Guide to Successful Writing that's under the How to Write button on Blackboard, okay? That will give you some models of shapes of things you might want to play with in order to set questions, devise a structure to enable you to answer the questions, okay? So that can only do you good. And then finally, just from a technical thing, go and have a look to the guide to the Oxford system, and if you want to do Harvard, there's a link there to a guide for Harvard, and when you complete the form, make sure that you follow either Oxford or Harvard and just do it properly from the beginning. You'll have noticed that one of those students said, whatever you do, don't put off getting the referencing right until the end, because it'll eat you. No, she didn't say that, those are my words, but she said something very similar to it. If you make it a habit, always, to write the proper name of the book or the proper name of the person you're interviewing in the form it's got to be, and that guide tells you how to do it, you don't have to do that later on when you've got a million other things to do. So just do that, okay? So you've done those things, and then just keep this with you, and when you come and have a tutorial, we'll plug it into our computers, and together we'll work on improving it, okay? Before you submit it. So what we ask you to do are what your main research question is, your subsidiary questions. I hope everybody's got their heads around what that is. The main question is the thing that you're doing. It's really important to get that right. Because this is a digital form, you can afford to play with this, okay? So if you're not sure, first thing, what your question is, have a number of goes at it. We can look at them together. We can decide which one is actually going to work. From our perspective, we need to reassure you that what you're planning to do is practical and logical and doable. Because if we let you go away thinking that you're going to do something and actually it was never going to work in the way you particularly conceived of it, we wouldn't be doing you any favors. So that is a very important part of the form. Subsidiary questions, the questions you have to ask in order to answer the main question. Dead straightforward. Then it's fairly mechanical in that we have a bibliography correctly formatted according to either Oxford or Harvard, okay? But just some titles that you found. We don't expect you to have read these books. We expect you to have found out whether they're there or not. There's no point you setting out on a dissertation subject where actually you can't find out about Korean fingernail design because there are no texts on it and no Koreans to interview. So, don't do it. This is to satisfy yourself that the research is out there. And then we have 4 analyses. Now, that's an interesting aspect of this form. We don't ask you to tell us what's in the book. We ask you to tell us in a few sentences how the book or magazine is relevant to answering your question, which is slightly different. Doesn't take long, but it does need you to think in those terms about why that particular title is going to help you answer the question. Okay? And then we'll say, no. Some websites. Everybody should be making, and everybody does make exhaustive use of the web, and that's fine. Exactly the same as with texts, you need to be discriminating. You need to know the value of what it is that you find, or whether it's suspect or not. It's not a problem as far as completing this form is concerned. You can put everything in. But when you come to using that material in your work, just exercise due discretion. Okay, websites. Non-print sources is a very unglamorous term for often people. If you're going to be practitioners, if the purpose of your dissertation is to prepare you for that, why wouldn't you arrange to do something which required you to go and make contact with some practitioners, some people who are in the world that you are shortly to join? Obviously how you approach them, the professionalism of it, the clarity of what you do. If you are approaching busy people, there is no point you sending them a misspelled email saying, I'm writing about art. Have you got any ideas? Nobody's going to respond to that. Whereas if you're clear about what you're doing and you can give them a chance to respond economically and easily, then you stand a much better chance. The important thing is you're getting to know the world that you're going to operate in. Use that aspect of research. It's the thing that can give your study absolute, or the pompous word is contemporaneity. It can bring it right up to now, which books and sometimes even magazines can't do. Web material can help, but people is a very, very valuable research resource. Hello, just sign there. Thank you. Okay, so moving on, we come to one of the most difficult bits, but this is important. The structure. This is where you go back to the how to write guide. If you're going to answer your question, if you are going to persuade somebody that what you think and what you believe is true, what order are you going to offer them these ideas that you have and the evidence that what you think is true is true? Okay? That's what that's about. Have some goes at it. Again, it's a digital file. You could copy that, cut and paste it a few times and try some different shapes for it. We can talk about it. The research questions and the structure, in some ways, are the most important parts of the form. Don't get anxious about it, but do make sure that you give some energy to thinking about that. Sometimes because we put the structure towards the end, the temptation is just to sort of leave it. Have one go at it at least. We have plenty of opportunities to help you remodel it, reshape it, until it's something that will really work and serve your purposes. And then we give you feedback on that. Okay, that's the form.